Alright people, now we can finally debunk this so-called expose. First of all, you're definitely lying that you could upload this video way earlier, because it's very obvious that you took so long to find all of those excuses to make your video as convincing as possible. Second, even if you were honest, you said it's because you wanted to see if people are going to trust you, which honestly is pretty disgusting, and you're pretty much proving that you also, just like LGBTQ Mapper, you see this as some game, you test people who actually just want to know the truth. So you're only proving that you don't care about other people, and that you're literally behaving the same as LGBTQ Mapper, aka Joker 7, which is not only bad, but it's also suspicious. Also, I love the fact that she said that I gave convincing lies, while at the same time she didn't even debunk them, which is very ironic. This entire slide is obviously manipulative, and just because you put them as yellow and red doesn't mean that they are actually strong. Okay, nobody's buying this actually. No, but I love the... No. It's actually ridiculous that she wants people to consider her expose seriously, while she's saying that she was really terrified by online troll, and that she even started eating less because of him. Yeah, nobody's buying that. And by the way, I know some people who have actually mental problems or are extremely sensitive, way more than you are, and all of them literally laugh at you for saying this. Like, they literally laugh at you, and trust me, they're way more sensitive than you are. And besides that, I think that you're being extremely disrespectful to people who actually started eating less because of their stressful situations in real life and so on. So you're literally mocking people and just use some stupid lie that nobody's going to buy. And yeah, I saw her screenshots where she apparently was scared and so on, which is obviously an excuse, because let's be real, everyone can stage conversation. We know that, especially from LGBTQ Mapper, so if LGBTQ Mapper can do it, British Mapper can do it as well. But overall, yeah, this is very obviously a lie. Besides, I already gave many examples in my previous videos, and others agree that you and LGBTQ Mapper are literally still friends. And even if you're not friends right now, it's very obvious that during these times both of you were friends. You literally glaze him so much, you say that he helped you in real life, you say so many positive things about him, and there is no way that he helped you so much in real life and suddenly he just magically destroyed it, which doesn't make sense. And even if somehow you're telling the truth, which obviously you're not, like nobody is going to buy this, in that case you're unironically the dumbest person ever, and it's still your fault. Why? Because yeah, nobody is actually going to feel worried about their real life because of some internet troll. A great example could be, imagine if one of your friends gives you one gift, and inside that gift there is, I don't know, but it's something good. But you simply started believing randomly that inside that gift there is a bomb. So you decide to throw that gift away, and you start hating that person only because you believe that inside that gift there was a bomb. That's literally the same example. So that's not fault of your friend who gave you gift, but it's your fault because you simply thought of something so stupid. First of all, none of them mocked your mental state, because first of all it's fake. Second thing, if you actually had some serious problems, I would be the first person who would defend you, because going through something very serious is really, really bad, and I don't want any person to experience that. However, the thing is that what you said is obviously a lie, so why should they believe you? Because it's obviously fake. Second thing, I love the fact that you stated that you don't hate Kusi, even though it was obvious that you do. You were simply trying to manipulate him to be on your side instead of Shira's, but when your try failed, suddenly you want him to go to hell. That seems very manipulative. Also, it's very contradicting for you to say that they don't know for what you were going through, while at the same time you also don't know what they were going through. And trust me, someone who is a close friend of them, I know that they actually had a real life problems. Really, really, really big problems that are actually real, unlike yours. And once again, how was your life threatened over online internet troll? Like you can't be serious. You can't compare that to people who actually had real life problems. Alright, I think that this is the most important argument of British Mapper. That is at the same time the best and worst argument. I won't say why is it the worst argument. I will just say that this argument is the reason why I figure out that British Mapper and LGBTQ Mapper definitely either work together or they are the same person. However, in this video I'm going to debunk and explain the whole situation, why me and LGBTQ Mapper have similar grammar. I won't deny that this at first seems quite strange, and even though nobody betrayed me after British Mapper's expose, 3 people asked me about grammar similarity, so I'm going to prove you that there is a very good explanation. In fact, there are actually many reasons why this argument doesn't really prove anything. Anyway, you can see on this slide British Mapper's argument, and after this she gave many examples of me and LGBTQ Mapper having similar grammar mistakes. However, I have multiple proofs to prove that this argument is very bad actually. First of all, let's start with the fact that LGBTQ Mapper is someone who is very cunning, very careful. He plans multiple steps ahead. He plans for several years, and he often sets up traps. What we also know about LGBTQ Mapper is that he often gives fake hints. For example, he gives you something quite obvious or even obvious, and that is always a trap. It's his method to deceive people. Also, he likes using that method when you finally think that you got him, or when he says that he revealed everything. That's actually just a part of his greater plan. Now, why I'm saying this is because we need to consider that LGBTQ Mapper is not someone who is dumb. He's very intelligent, he's very cunning, and he's very careful. And we also should know that he tries to hide his identity very, very hard. So when you consider all of those reasons, don't you think that it's contradictory, which I mentioned that British Mapper does a lot, don't you think it's contradictory that someone who is very careful, like LGBTQ Mapper, someone who made so many traps, complex plans and so on, somehow he was just that dumb and he was that careless to make so many grammar mistakes? That doesn't make any sense. Why would someone like LGBTQ Mapper make so many mistakes? And we are talking about the exact mistakes for years. It just doesn't really make any sense. He was trolling for years, and he really did some impressive and complex stuff that it's very hard to figure out. But at the same time, he was just that careless to make the exact mistakes for years. Also, British Mapper made one mistake. She gave as many examples as possible that me and LGBTQ Mapper make the same grammar mistakes, thinking that giving more proofs means that it's more convincing. However, it's actually quite the opposite, because it doesn't make sense that someone who is so calculative like LGBTQ Mapper would make so many amount of mistakes. It just seems unrealistic that someone who fooled the community for years would make so many exact grammar mistakes and he would simply do nothing about it. It just makes zero sense, and this proves even more that British Mapper is either LGBTQ Mapper or LGBTQ Mapper and British Mapper work together, and LGBTQ Mapper told British Mapper his plan to frame me. That really makes sense, And you may ask, what if LGBTQ Mapper's grammar is simply just too bad? Which once again is contradictory, because as I mentioned before, he definitely, considering how careful he is, he could easily prevent that. However, we are coming to another problem, and that's the fact that we could see on multiple LGBTQ Mappers accounts that he's easily able to change grammar, to frame people with his grammar, and simply act totally different. Also, on some of LGBTQ Mapper's alternative accounts, his grammar was actually better than my grammar. And since I'm supposed to be main account, if LGBTQ Mapper is alternative account of me, it doesn't make sense that I would have better grammar on alternative account than on this main account. And if that's not enough, LGBTQ Mapper literally used AI on some of his accounts, which means that he even faked his grammar through using AI. So that also means that LGBTQ Mapper could simply use AI to fake his grammar or ask AI to correct his grammar mistakes. Which, let's be real, everyone could do it. You don't even have to be smart, it's extremely simple. So, since LGBTQ Mapper could change his grammar through AI or other things, as we can see he did that. So, if I was LGBTQ Mapper, I could simply fake my grammar or use AI. Because even if my grammar was actually bad, as I mentioned, I could use AI. And we can see that LGBTQ Mapper used AI. So that automatically proves that there is no way I could be LGBTQ Mapper, because once again I could just fake it. And it's something that literally everyone can do. It's not even some mastermind move or something smart. No, it's extremely simple. Besides, even without AI, it's so easy to frame anyone with fake grammar. And we can see that LGBTQ Mapper did it multiple times as well. It's not even the first time. Let's say that I want to frame Yakoza Ball. I honestly would need just a few days, maybe even less, to perfectly frame him. If I was very active that one day, I already could use so many examples of Yakoza's grammar. First thing that I would do is copy a lot of his posts and a lot of his comments. If I would do that, that means that I could either analyze his grammar mistakes, how he types and so on, or if I want to make it even easier, I could simply ask AI to analyze his all of his comments. So AI could tell me which grammar mistakes he has done, and based on his mistakes, through all of these examples AI gave me, I already could very easily frame Yakoza Ball. One idea that I just got is, for example, I could write something and then ask AI to write it exactly as if Yakoza Ball was writing it. That's just one of methods I got in my mind. That's one of the ways I could frame Yakoza if I wanted to. So as you can see, it's very easy, and if I could do something like that very easily, I honestly think, I said a few days, but I think that maybe even one day is enough. So if I could do that, then obviously someone so cunning but at the same time smart like LGBTQ Mapper could definitely do all of that easily. So that means that it's literally impossible that LGBTQ Mapper could be me, and once again it's extremely contradictory that someone like LGBTQ Mapper can fool the whole community for so many years, yet he can't do the most basic thing to fake grammar. So this pretty much proves that LGBTQ Mapper indeed tried to frame me. One of my best arguments that I'm innocent is the fact that I talked to Angela for years. And our amount of messages, unfortunately, for some reason I can see the exact amount of messages, but I think that it's close to 10,000. And if someone doesn't believe me, then just tell me in the comments how can I see the exact number of messages, because I know that some people can see the exact amount of messages on Discord. However, I can see it for some reason. It only shows me 1000 plus, which basically could be 9000, and I'm sure it's very close to 10,000 messages. And as I mentioned before, Angela is literally third person to whom I talk the most. Anyway, British Mapper tried to somehow find an excuse for that, as I expected. So, including this and a few more slides, she tried to prove that there is actually a reason why I would talk to myself that much, which obviously is a horrible excuse, because no person would have thousands and thousands of messages with themselves for years. Anyway, she said, listen, her excuse to this is, as I suspected, of course she has to act smart, so she has to claim that she just knows everything, and she does that so much because she's so insecure and she wants to act smart. As I suspected, I figured out LGBTQ Mapper has mental issues. I mean, yeah, great argument. So because she can't debunk the fact that me and Angela, who is related to Joker 7, talked for so long, her only excuse is that I had mental issues. Yeah, definitely a good argument. So if you can't solve something, just say that the person is crazy, so they definitely would talk to themselves that much. And by the way, even if someone had mental issues, they still would not talk to themselves. That's a horrible, horrible excuse. Besides, I think that's quite ironic, considering that you literally stated that your life was at risk and that you started eating less because of one random internet troll. I think that's actually problematic, since according to you, you're telling the truth. Because if that's true, that you're the one who has mental issues. Also, you're in this community since 2018, and after 8 years, you haven't even changed at all. You basically behave the same. From the beginning, since you're here, up to this moment right now, you literally haven't changed. And some people who know you for a long time, they even say that you became dumber. So what are we talking about? The only difference is that your ideology is different. And that's basically it. You're literally the same. Still seeking dramas, still seeking attention, and that's it. That's literally your whole life. Simply being on the internet and seeking attention. That's it. Now, the reason why I included this argument is not because it's good, but because it's actually the opposite. This argument is so bad, but at the same time it shows how manipulative British Mapper is, which is exactly why I'm going to use this slide just to prove you that her whole point of expose is simply being deceitful, manipulative, and misleading people. First of all, there is a huge difference between talking to yourself for years, which is obviously boring, and creating personality database profile pages for YouTubers. Because let's be real, what did LGBTQ Mapper do this whole time? He promoted psychology and MBTI, right? So while talking to yourself is obviously boring, and nobody would do that, like even if people would use that to cover themselves, they would not do it that much, obviously. While what LGBTQ Mapper did, he did it for fun, because let's be real, he did have fun doing that. And we all know who LGBTQ Mapper is. So he created all of those profile pages because he wanted people to know about MBTI and psychology. And because he wanted to promote PsyJotube. It makes sense. So that what he did wasn't for nothing. It was a waste of time, but it wasn't boring, and it can be compared to talking to yourself. Also, if you want to use your argument, then you're pretty much doing the same. As you know, if you watch my previous videos, and British Mapper herself admitted that she also bombed several pages on personality database. She used many alternative accounts to bomb her page in a good way, while bombing pages of people she doesn't like in a bad way. She did that a lot. So you're also technically wasting your time. However, you still did it. Why? Because that is a benefit according to you. Just like for LGBTQ Mapper, it's beneficial if he makes all of those things, because he gets fun and enjoyment. Besides that, you also use your alternative accounts for like bombing, cheating, and so on. And while that's a waste of time, you still find it beneficial, just like LGBTQ Mapper does. The reasons are basically the same. Both of you waste your time for your own useless benefits. So that's not really an argument, and you're just proving that you're being manipulative. Another very manipulative and deceitful thing from British Mapper here is the fact that British Mapper said that LGBTQ Mapper replied to himself on alternative accounts. Well, let's be real, one reply to your alternative account doesn't request too much time, and yeah, that's something that it's okay to do if it's going to protect your identity. Like, you're not really wasting that much time. But we are talking about a conversation that lasts for years. So you can't tell me that anyone would talk to themselves for years. There is no possible excuse from that. You're just being desperate to find any possible excuse. Like, not even the craziest person will not do that. Let's be real. Lastly, there is one contradiction about this. So according to British Mapper, I planned this whole conversation with Angela for years. However, grammar thing from LGBTQ Mapper wasn't planned for years. Do you see how contradicting she is? She simply cherry picks whatever benefits her. If it benefits her for LGBTQ Mapper to plan something for years, then she will say that. However, things that are the opposite from that, then suddenly, yeah, LGBTQ Mapper didn't plan that. So just decide. Just decide. You see how manipulative she is. This is a perfect proof. I will debunk this one as well, because one of my, if not the strongest argument, is the fact that it's literally mathematically, logically, and biologically impossible for any living man to control so many accounts at once. So basically on this part, British Mapper tried to prove that it's possible, blah blah blah, and of course her arguments were very horrible, and most of things are not even true, or they are exaggerated. Anyway, yeah, she just could not prove it, but you know, she was aware that was one of my strongest arguments, so she had to find some stupid excuses. Even if it's true that we weren't active as she says, still we need to consider all of this. So first of all, we have courage mapping. Basically, I think that I'm known as the main GeoTuber. Many people consider me as the GeoTube creator and so on. Anyway, yeah, that's another story, but in general we could say that I'm definitely one of the most, if not the most famous person in the GeoTube community. The next person is LGBTQ Mapper, also one of the most famous people in the GeoTube community, and not only that he's famous, he has influenced the community the most, and I think that he influenced this community the most by far. So we already have two people who are extremely famous in this community, and one of them did so many things to change the community, which already means that he was definitely active a lot, because if you look at everything he has done, there is definitely no way that he has been active a little. And yeah, he was mostly working behind the scenes. So yeah. Then third person, Adolf Foggy. Also another extremely famous person, and he's literally the main troll account who was extremely famous, very popular, and so on, and basically everyone you know for Adolf Foggy in the GeoTube community. So we already have three extremely famous and influential people in this community. Fourth one is Angela Unmage. We have fourth most famous person in this community. So we already have 4 out of 4 most famous people in the community, at least in GeoTube mainstream, since I don't look at subscriber count, but how many people know for them and how much they influence the community. So we have literally fourth person. She was literally like main female character of the GeoTube community. I can say it like that. And as you know, she also had a huge history, huge DM history, as many people say, and way more. So we already have 4 extremely famous and influential people. And you can't tell me that all of them are somehow me. Like, you can tell me that it's possible one person to control 4 accounts, while at the same time all of them are the most influential and famous accounts. It's just impossible. And that's not even all, because we have Hungarian Patriot, who was active during times when people didn't know that Hungarian Patriot and LGBTQ Mapper were the same person. So already LGBTQ Mapper had to control 1 account. Then we have Adolf Foggy, LGBTQ Mapper, Angela, and me being active at the same time as Hungarian Patriot, and have in mind that we were all very active during that time. Oh, and I forgot to mention, even Zoki Riesler, who was extremely famous troll during that time, was also active at the same time when all of those people were. So you can't tell me that a person could control so many accounts while being extremely famous, influential, all of them at once. It's literally impossible, and it's not even about being super smart or mastermind or something. It's just logically and biologically impossible for any normal human being, unless if you're some kind of alien. It's literally impossible. And besides them, we have also some people. For example, Muslima also used to be extremely famous and influential. And then we have other people who weren't that influential and famous, but they were still pretty much like any average person in this community. For example, Fakhr Klasna, Vianzer, Montenegrin girl, and so on. So basically, we have nearly 10 extremely famous and influential people who were active. Almost all of them were active at the same time. And then we have also several other people who were pretty much like average people in the JoeTube community, plus way more other irrelevant accounts. Now, if you genuinely think that it's possible for one person to control all of that, then yeah, honestly, yeah, I won't even say it. Because generally there is no way that anyone would believe that that's possible. Like, it's logically and biologically impossible for any human being. Like, it's impossible. Like, no human can achieve that. Do you see how ridiculous her theory is? And let's not even mention the fact that many of these accounts were active during different time zones. Me and LGBTQ Mapper were active on different time zones. And people in Veil server and some people in DM know that. They literally know that we were active during different times, and there is no way that I can, even if only LGBTQ Mapper was me and other accounts were not LGBTQ Mapper, every day I still would sleep on average from like 0 to 3-4 hours. And yeah, and let's not even mention the other accounts. So once again, this alone by itself should be enough good proof, because once again, it's impossible, like literally impossible. The reason why I included this slide is because British Mapper unironically helped me and proved that I'm right about this whole situation. And generally, she can be this dumb. And I will explain. But before I explain, first I want to say that she called this argument that I mentioned before as one of the worst, except that I gave you even more reasons now. And yeah, just calling it worse without really giving any explanation doesn't really prove anything. You say that it's one of the worst arguments because you know it's actually one of the best arguments and you can't debunk it, so you intentionally call it the worst, so it seems, oh, that argument is just not really that good. So yeah, nice manipulation with words, but it's not going to work. Now, the second thing where British Mapper literally confirmed that I'm right is the fact that she said that LGBTQ Mapper was often active during late afternoon. Except the fact that he was even active later than that, but she probably tried to a bit mislead story, which is normal for her. But yeah, he was usually active around late afternoon or during the night, up to maybe midnight in her time zone, depends. But based on his activity, I would say it's somewhere around that, I'm not sure. Anyway, since LGBTQ Mapper is active around her time zone, she also said that he wasn't always active at those times. Which, yeah, of course, I mean, it makes sense, because Obviously that he's not only going to be active around that time, because he also needs to wake up. There is also midday. So the fact that British Mapper say that LGBTQ Mapper used to be also active during morning and during midday on her time zone, British Mapper herself says it's her time zone, obviously makes sense, and it perfectly matches your time zone. So all of that means that LGBTQ Mapper was really active when you were active as well. And of course, all of that means that LGBTQ Mapper was active when I wasn't. And once again, as I mentioned many times, people literally know that I was active from around like 8 am in my country up to midnight. Usually it's always around that. At most, and I literally mean at most 1 am after midnight. And sometimes it's even before midnight. So from 11 p.m. to 1 am, that's literally it. And on average it's probably around midnight. While LGBTQ Mapper would usually sleep from around 4 am to 7, 8, something like that. Maybe 7 at most. I don't know exactly, but you can see that our time zones are literally different, and only from LGBTQ Mapper there is no way that I can be active that much and sleep that little every day. Plus, as I mentioned, other alternative accounts that are active on different time zones. Also, her last argument literally doesn't prove anything, because first of all, there is no proof. Second, even if there is proof, it literally doesn't change anything. I still proved that I'm not active when LGBTQ Mapper is active. Plus, you're probably referring to only LGBTQ Mapper, but not to other LGBTQ Mapper alternative accounts. So since you like mentioning LGBTQ Mapper in his alternative accounts, why aren't you mentioning them right now? Thank you, British Mapper. Thank you for proving that I'm not LGBTQ Mapper and other alternative accounts. Because you literally said that I'm less active than Angela. And I love the fact that she said maybe, even though I was way less active than Angela. And she said maybe because she actually believes this goes to her in benefit. But no, the reality is that you're literally just proving even more that I'm not LGBTQ Mapper, Angela, and other alternative accounts. Why? The reason is simply because why would I be less active if I'm main account? It just doesn't make any sense. I'm literally main account. It's logical that I should be more active than my alternative accounts. So why I would be more active on my alternative accounts? Now the second argument is not anything better. Like, first of all, how is that even a proof? And also, like I mentioned before, British Mapper likes to distort arguments a lot. And even when she wants to sound convincing and all of that, what she does a lot is that she cherry picks arguments. So let's say that it could be true that me and Angela did the same thing, like she says. Alright, but does that prove anything? No. Why? Because many people do that. So you just took that little specific example that is common. It literally doesn't prove anything, even if it's true. This is the last argument that I will debunk, because out of all of them, this is the only one who makes some sense. I would even say that this argument is the best one. However, at the same time, when you look deeper into it, it also makes no sense. So she basically gave an example of me using curved apostrophes while I usually type straight apostrophes. And now the thing is, if you watch my video, you maybe know about my whole situation with LGBTQ Mapper and Selah, and what did LGBTQ Mapper told me. Well, the thing is that I actually used curved apostrophes a few times when I used to talk to British Mapper. And now the thing is that some of LGBTQ Mapper accounts also sometimes used curved apostrophes. So yeah, you could say that it does sound quite weird. However, we can once again go to my previous reason when I explained this whole situation with grammar. So basically I could say the same for this one as well as for grammar, because basically it's still framing grammar and texting. However, I would like to add one additional detail, since here is actually one thing that you should know about a curved apostrophe thing. So basically, I had no idea that I used curved apostrophes. I generally didn't pay attention if my apostrophes were straight or curved, and I guess nobody did. However, before I watched British Mapper's expose, Shiro sent me a screenshot where I used curved apostrophes, even though usually when I type, you will see that I use straight apostrophes. Now, this is something that I didn't even realize, and like I mentioned, nobody is going to pay attention to those things. And at the moment I was like, damn, because the thing is that some of LGBTQ Mapper accounts really used curved apostrophes as well. So I actually first thought, damn, that guy framed me. But you know, that's not enough, because I actually needed to prove that there is something more. So basically I will show you a conversation just to prove that nothing is staged, so you can see the whole situation. Now, I'm not sure if I wrote this on Word and then on Discord, or if it was from another phone, since I have two phones. However, this proves and explains the whole situation about curved apostrophes, and it proves that I'm innocent, because if you pay attention on screenshots, you can see that right after I sent not a screenshot, but I literally sent a picture of my PC where you can see that my apostrophes were curved. So there is no way that I could fake all of that for less than 1 minute. That's literally undebunkable proof that I'm innocent. Also, I realized that ChatGPT gives you curved apostrophes as well. So it could be also true that I asked ChatGPT to correct my sentence, because sometimes I do that as well. So maybe that could be another reason. I know that I used it a few times. I'm still not sure if it was for that exact message or for something else, but I just remember that a few times I did ask ChatGPT if my sentences are correct, and if not, he would send me a corrected version. Once again, I'm not sure if it was from Word, different phone, or AI. I just know that this proves that I'm innocent, because once again I explained this screenshot that obviously proves that I'm innocent, and that there is a very good explanation of curved apostrophes. The only reason why I included this slide is because it's extremely cringe, and I love the fact that she put red word as if that word proves something. Like, wow, you say that in real life. Wow, great proof. Wow, great proof that really proves that I'm LGBTQ Mapper, and we definitely care what you said in real life. Like, if this doesn't show that she is attention seeking and trying to make herself right or something, then yeah. Well, finally, damn, this video is going to be way longer than I wanted to. And guess what? I didn't even answer on all of her arguments, because if I would do that, if I would answer on all of her arguments, well, more like excuses in her video and all of her posts, then I think that this video would belong like hours and hours and hours. So yeah, that's why I included only, even with this, it's still way longer than expected. But anyway, I included only the best arguments from British Mapper. I can debunk others as well, so if you want me to debunk them, just write in the comments, because it would take me eternity to debunk her wall expose. So yeah, that's why I simply debunked her best arguments. And I think that the biggest question was about grammar thing, which I explained very well. And about other arguments, yeah, like just I explained in my post, like, and this video, yeah, I haven't even commented them because they're generally so stupid, and honestly I really have no time to do all of that, so yeah. But once again, if you want me to debunk them, just write in the comments, it's not a problem. Just tell me which arguments do you want to debunk me if you are unsure about one. Even though I really think that what they said is way more than enough. It definitely should be, but yeah, if you have any question, just let me know. So yeah, her overall expose is very bad, considering the fact that it took her so long. So many arguments are either contradictory, they make no sense, or they are taken out of context. Like, I'm even lazy to name all reasons. It's just so bad expose overall. So yeah, and she didn't even reply to my arguments, and she tried to do something a little bit, and even what she tried was honestly a horrible try. She literally didn't debunk my arguments. She didn't even try to debunk most of my arguments. She only tried to debunk a few of them, and yeah, it was very bad. So yeah, that's pretty much from my part. Now I will show you more parts from my other people as well. And yeah, there are other arguments, like maybe you saw Azavat Mapping's video, and some of my friends have other arguments as well. Honestly, I'm just so lazy to even make this video longer, because it's already too long, and I think at this point there is no point of making it longer, because I don't even think that many people are going to watch it. But I simply at one point wanted to make it long, not this long though, but I wanted to make it long because I do plan to quit after this another video, because I just want to leave this as soon as possible. So the whole video was quite lazy, it was rushed. It's also why I talked mostly on my with my voice, because I am just too lazy to spend time for music, then for that, for even more arguments, because I really have so way more arguments. My friends have also more arguments, other people have more arguments. I'm just really tired and exhausted of this, and I really think that I gave way more proofs than I should. I just simply think that I gave so many convincing proofs. And honestly, even if British Mapper, or not British Mapper, but LGBT Mapper comes out with some convincing frame, honest, I don't care. Even if there is some proof, I don't know what it could be. Honestly, I just don't care anymore. Like, most people are on my side, which I'm very grateful for. And once again, after this I'm quitting. I won't even care. I'm just going to watch LGBTQ Mapper's video, and when I say that, I'm going to watch them when my friends send me his videos, which means that I'm not going to be on this community, because I simply want to see what he's going to say. And when that's over, I'm gone. I really don't want to stay here anymore. I want to quit this community as soon as possible. I didn't even want to come back. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So I really want just to end this quickly, and I really have no time to fight against someone who can fight basically forever, because no matter what I say, she's going to find excuses. Most of them are either from LGBTQ Mapper's framing, and he's, as you know, he's very good at it. Then her deceiving tricks, arguments taken out of context, and many other things. I'm literally lazy to say all of it because I just want to end this video as soon as possible. You can even see by my talking that I just want to finish this as soon as possible. After this, I'm going to make one last video. I will explain everything, and that's it. So yeah, oof, this video is going to be so long, but yeah, I'm quitting. So, and I even should maybe give more arguments because I really had more. I just don't really see point. I know the truth, so I honestly don't really care that much. I put all important evidence. I really think that they are enough. I really think that there is no need to put even more. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I will finish this video here. Thank you for watching, and thank you for understanding.